Hey Janine, just wanted to start out our first video going over some concepts and kind of starting to help you have a better understanding of Oso and dogs in general. So I forgot to, I don't know if I gave you a training packet, and I'm beating myself up about not giving you one. So if I haven't, I'll make sure to give you one at the midweek, but it has a huge plethora of information in there about what it is that we do in the dogs and their psychology and all that kind of stuff, just to give you a jump start. So I don't think I gave you one. Now, part of the packet that I want to go over in this video today is drives. Drives are a huge part of my training. And I think they're very important for people to understand, because having a better understanding of genetic traits in your dog and what they represent to your dog helps you have a better understanding of how to take them out into the world, like hiking, and have better success with them. So dogs are predators. It doesn't matter how long they've been domesticated, this is their nature. Come. And so on a biological level, sit. Good job, Oso. On a biological level, dogs have what we refer to as drives that put them in a state of mind that basically help them hunt. And because dogs are domesticated and they are actually going out and hunting, these drives are going to still translate into the human world, just the intention might not be, I'm going out and hunting for my meal, right? So the intention might be different, the state of mind is the same, the circumstances are different, the mentality behind the dog still the same, even though the circumstances are different. Okay, so pre-drive is what we refer to as that predatory state of mind where they want to hunt. So as you can imagine, a dog's natural tendency to hunt would increase their senses. And that's basically what prey drive is. It's a heightening of all the senses. So when a dog is in a prey drive state, you actually get to see it physically. They will show you with physical cues. So one is air scenting. The other is ground scenting or tracking. Those are two predatory states of mind. They are searching for something. That is the state of mind that they would go through if they were looking for food or water. So you can see how circumstances are different, state of mind's the same. Right? Another heightening of the senses would be strong visual fixations, where they would actually latch onto something with their eyes. Come, sit. And I see it a lot with dogs. They just stare and they don't let go. They don't let it out of their sight. They just continue to fixate visually. Now, when a dog does that, they're going to actually have ear and forehead cues as well. So they're going to be fixating, but you're going to see in Oso's case, he has triangles, and they're going to sit directly in front of his head. Right, so when he's in a different drive, which is what I'm going to go over next, his ears sit softly on his head and they don't erect and sit forward, so you can actually see the triangles right above his eyes. Let's see if I can show you. That's pack drive. That's a good boy. You're very handsome. Sit. Good. See if I sit away here. This is all pack drive. See those ears? See how soft they are, and that really, really nice eye contact directly towards me? That's also pack drive. I'll go into that next. Right there, see those triangles? And that was a mild version. I've seen him much more heightened, especially if the dog is out in the yard or if he sees the ducks next door. He's surprisingly remaining in pack drive right now, which I haven't done a ton of work with him yet, so I'm surprised. But see how they're flicking and they flick forward? You're not going to give me anything, bub? been in prey drive since you've been here. You know? It's pretty much the only state of mind you're in. He's being super good. So, I've only gotten short examples here, and right now, I don't know if you can see, but his ears are right there. See those ears? See how they're erect? And the moment he looked over and must have saw something over there, his ears went directly forward. And the more forward they are, and especially if you add a forehead scrunch, which is hard to see on him because he's got so much hair, but that forward scrunch in the forehead with the ears erect, that's kind of like the ultimate prey drive state. They are very, very, very heightened, right? So this is prey drive. Now when a dog is in a prey drive state of mind, basically they're not looking at their handler, okay? So when a dog is constantly looking outward at external stimulus, they're detached from their handler. So even if they're walking like this, see how short my leash is? If a dog's ears are erect, they're not in the right state of mind on the walk. So, and I don't need my dog staring at me and looking up at me on the walk, right? But I do want the ears soft and I don't want them fixating on things, which we'll go over. There it is, right? See that? And you can tell that when he looks at me and gives me eye contact, the ears soften. But when he looks outward and external at all the stimulus, his ears go forward. He is searching for things. Could be with his nose, his eyes, whatever. But he's in a prey drive state of mind. This mimics this predatory state of mind. It does not warrant a very good listening dog because, let's go, because they're in a state of mind where they're not tied to the handler. They're outward instead of inward with the pack, right? So if you've ever been hiking and he sees a dog and everything about his body language goes into prey drive state, he's not going to listen to you unless he's trained how to listen to you in that state of mind. And that's why this is so important. This is why so many people have missing links in their training, because you know, maybe they can do it in their backyard, but the minute they get it into a highly stimulating situation, it goes down the drain, and it's because the dog has not actually been taught what drive we want them in. And that's what's so cool about dogs, is that you can train them what drive you want them in. And I want him in pack drive. Now I don't want to take away prey drive entirely. I'm going to fulfill it in other ways. He's going to have access to it. I'm definitely not going to suppress it. But what I want from any dog that will give it to me is a pack drive that overrides the prey drive. In other words, even if a rabbit does run by, they still have the ability to check in with their handler. Or if a dog presents themselves, they will not impulsively run at them, but check in with the handler. And that's what putting a dog in prey drive, that's what instilling pack drive does to a dog. So when you know how to put a dog in pack drive and you understand the difference in drives, this is where the difference between a dog who's looking everywhere else but you versus a dog who's constantly looking at you. So, pack drive is, every dog has a pack drive. Some have very little, some have very high. Come. Pack drive. Hi. Good boy. Pack drive is that eye contact, those soft ears. It's a willingness to listen. It's the willingness to follow, to be part of a pack. It's absolutely hereditary. Dogs are pack animals, so it is very natural for them to look to their pack and go, are we hunting or are we not hunting? Should I chase the rabbit and scare it away, or are we going to work as a team to chase the rabbit together because we're hungry? You see the difference? So in the human world, dogs don't go, hey mom, should I chase after the rabbit? Because they're not trained. In the dog world without humans, that would be their nature. That would be their second nature, because they don't operate as independent bodies. They operate as a team. So they need to work as a team and communicate as a team. And so it's basically, don't just impulsively run, let's talk. Let's go. Good job. So by teaching a dog how to be in pack drive, I am tapping into what's natural to them already. It's actually more unnatural to not check in with the handler than it is to just, it's more unnatural to just shoot out and not go, hey, my pack is here, than it is to go, hey, are we doing this today, or should I go after the rabbit, or what are we doing today? So hopefully that makes sense. Pack drive, working as a unit, as a team, is really healthy for a dog, and it's also, it's beneficial for the pack. It's like they're doing it for the benefit of the pack, not just, they're not independent entities, so they're not going to be as self-serving in a pack setting. So it is something that's much more natural to them. Now, good job, buddy. Defense drive is, I'm not going to go over very much. It's basically their level of confidence, how secure are they in themselves, and how sensitive are they to the environment, right? So the low defense dog, a dog who's got very low defense tendencies, they're going to be more flighty. I mean, they can be fighty too, they can run at things too, but those are the real flight cases where they're very scared of things, very timid. A lot of our low defense dogs who are very high prey drive, they'll sense something in the environment and automatically run at it. So defense drive is kind of like a fight or flight, either run at it or run away from it. There can be freeze. He's not a freeze dog. Anyway, I thought I heard something. Now a higher defense dog. Good job, buddy. A higher defense dog is going to be a service dog. So those are going to be the type of dogs that can walk down Main Street and they're not affected by stimulus. They don't want to run at it, they don't want to flight from it, they're working, they're focused, they've got a task, and there's no need to be concerned. So that's going to be a higher defense dog. What that means is they can absorb higher levels of stimulation without feeling like they need to go into fight or flight. Lower defense dogs, it could take something as simple as a leaf blowing in the wind to set them off, right? So this is how we measure defense drives. How sensitive are they to stimulus? How sensitive are they to leash pressure? How sensitive are they to body pressure? All these things kind of give an indication of their defense drive. So this, now Oso, if I were to weigh out his drives, he'd be high prey, high pack, low defense. And I think in that packet that I needed to give you has an actual thing for you to fill out, or you can determine all those drives yourself at home. Now, all cattle dogs most cattle dogs I've met are high prey, high pack, low defense. Why are they like that? Because they have to have a high prey drive to have a high work ethic, and cattle dogs are designed to go all day, so they need to have that drive. They need to have that drive that keeps them working. But cattle dogs work in unison with a handler, so they're herding sheep or cattle, but they're also looking at a handler for information. So being such that they needed to be bred to have that high drive to work, but that also high tendency to look to the handler for information because that's their job. And they have to be low defense because you want cattle dogs to be sensitive to the movement of the cattle, right? So it's kind of, they don't all come with that set of drives, but I'd say in my experience, 9 out of every 10 have. But most of those cattle dogs, when they come to me, their pack drive is much lower than their prey drive because the owner didn't know. Huh? Good. Because the owner didn't know well, most people don't understand drives. They don't operate in drives. And so they don't understand how, they go through obedience training and treat training and God knows what else, because it is important to have that, but it's not necessarily teaching the dog what drive they need to be in, which is state of mind. And state of mind goes much further than physical obedience, in my opinion. Well, in my experience, actually. not an opinion. It's trial and error. I've seen it. So understanding these drives will help you get you have physical obedience, but you can't perform it around stimulation, and that's because he's not in the right state of mind. You know, his prey drive is overriding his pack drive right now. So when he goes somewhere that's exciting, he's naturally more externally stimulated because he's in the wrong drive, right? So now you're probably saying to yourself, well, how the heck do I get his pack drive higher? And there's a lot of ways to do it. So I'm not gonna be able to go through all of it in this video. We'll go over it as the couple weeks go by. But the first thing I'm doing with him is what I refer to as switching his drive. And I haven't done a whole lot since we started this video. I'm just kind of standing still most of the time. But every time I turn him and move him and recall him and change directions, I am actually switching him from this external state of mind where he's wanting to go out and sniff or go out and fixate on something he might see in my yard, and I'm continuing to bring him back into my space to say, hey, I want you to be in pack drive. I want you to pay attention to me and hang out with me. You don't need to worry about any of that out there. Let's go. So how it looks is like right now. This is to me. He's been doing this to me since he's got here, and that's okay. He'll warm up to me. He'll get closer. You know, he's affectionate, but he's not super into it right now with me because I'm a stranger. And this is a dog that I'm not going to coax with food. He's smart and intelligent and understands a lot of my methodology already, so I don't need to have food to amplify anything. I'm just going to keep working on building a relationship with him so he can learn that a handler, that he wants to be next to me, that he wants to be with his handler. Right? And I've got this long 15-foot line because it doesn't do much to restrain him in place. I really want to know, can he on his own, instead of physically be in place, can he on his own mentally be in the place that I want him to be? So I got this long line. Let's go. And see, he's sniffing. And that's prey drive. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to back up. Hey, buddy. And when he came to me, his ears peeled back and he was looking in my eyes the whole time, right? So he went from sniffing to coming to me, looking at me, impact drive. And I just do this over and over and over again. It's very magical. It's unbelievable how quickly this transforms a dog's state of mind. Like you could take them on a 2-mile walk and they could be in prey drive the whole walk, and it's not as beneficial as switching their drive for 10 minutes. 10 minutes is more beneficial than a 2-mile walk in a shitty state of mind. And I say shitty, prey drive is part of their nature, so it's not so much shitty, but it doesn't benefit the owner at all, and it actually doesn't benefit the dog at all either, because it doesn't drain energy when they're in that state of mind. It actually builds energy, it builds stamina. So I've got this long line. Let's go, and I'm just gonna see what he does with it. Good boy. The more I turn him, the more I can also keep him in pack drive. Hey, come here. Over here. Let's go. So by just something as simple as this, or I just keep moving him and trying to keep him staying with me and looking at and tuning in with me. Oh, so come. Good job. So right there, he started to smell into my yard and kind of look in that direction. So I decided to back up to the end of my line and recall him. So I switched him out of that external state of mind back inward towards me. So right now I'm doing a lot of recall. I'm doing a lot of turns to keep his brain with me. And basically the motions that I'm doing are very hard for people. Basically, when I see that he's disengaging with me and looking elsewhere, that's when I back up and disengage with him. See how I'm backed up here? Huh? Good job. Good job, dude. So basically what he was doing, if I'm Oso, and I'm looking this way, and I'm fixated over here, and all of a sudden my handler disappears and is no longer in my line of sight. You even could see it in the video. He went, "Where'd you go?" And so in that process of backing up and creating space from him, I'm getting his brain on his own to start going, "Whoa, where did you go?" And that brings attentiveness to the handler and builds that pack drive up higher. Let's go. See that? Good job, buddy. He did that all on his own. Someone barked over there, and he got real attentive towards it. And I started to move backwards like I just showed you, and he automatically, good boy. He automatically went ahead and turned with me. So that's huge. Now I also won't walk with them if they're in front of me. So I'm gonna stop walking if he tries to walk in front of me. And I'm not gonna restrain him into a heel. I want to give him lots of leash to make decisions. So this is a long line activity. There's no restraint in this. This is just directional. Let's go. Air sensing. Good job, Oso. He came back on his own. Good boy, buddy. A lot of the same repetitive motions. Let's go. And just good job. He looked up at me. Good boy. And a lot of direction change, so that he continues to look up at me, or at least, it doesn't have to do it the whole time, but just intermittently looking up at me to check in with his handler. So that's really beneficial for him. So the more I do this, instead of just allowing him to stay in this state of mind where he's in prey drive right now, he's air scenting, got kind of erect in his ears. Instead of just, moving in a forward momentum, so that state of mind builds and actually becomes stronger, I'm actually just going in circles, changing directions, doing quick turns, doing long recalls. Basically an accumulation of pretty much everything I want to teach him in one little session, so that he is going, "Well, where are you going? I don't know where you're going. I better pay attention. Oh gosh, there you are. Oh gosh. I better not stay too locked onto the outside world because I'm not quite sure exactly where you're going, and I want to make sure I'm with you." Let's go. Good. Good job. Good boy. Good boy. All right, so there's my drives lecture. Some of the stuff that we're doing. My goal in this activity, which is called long line work, you're also going to get an article on that, is to switch the drive and to make pack drive the primary state of mind the dog is in. So you will be doing this when he comes home, because he's probably in prey drive more than pack drive, and so this is going to be an important activity in teaching him how to recall off things and stuff. It's like, okay, it's kind of like Diane at the agility, like, wow, Kai is really looking at you a lot. This is how we did it. So this is how you can start this with your pup. It's way harder with puppies, by the way, way harder. This is stuff you can start with your puppy though, and just start getting them to be less concerned about everything else but you, and start reeling them in so that you become even more important than the outside world, which is really why we get dogs, right? That's kind of the whole point. You're gonna have big adventures. We're gonna go have a lot of fun. I'm gonna take you lots of places, give you lots of new things to smell and enjoy. But overall, I want you to enjoy me and the activities we're sharing together, instead of loving everything else more than me and by running at them without listening to me. So, all right, thanks, Janine.